So today we'll be learning how to draft a flare skirt using a slash and spread method. So the first thing we need is the length of the skirt and the waist of the skirt. These are the major thing we need to draft our flare skirt. So you divide your waist by 2. We have 14.5. So 14.5, you put that down. Then the length of the skirt, you're not going to divide anything. So the only thing you're dividing is the waist of the skirt, which is 29 divided by 2. We have 14.5. So we mark at 14.5 from the for the width of the paper, 14.5 all through to the down, from the beginning to the end of that paper, putting it that way. So after we're done with that, we use a ruler and a pencil to connect the lines together to get a straight line. So we roll our lines. If you find this video helpful, please do like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you. So let's go on. I'm trying to reconfirm what I have on the length. The length is 27, so that is accurate. I want to cut it now. So you cut on the line that you have marked. So I'm done cutting it out. So the next thing is to use my ruler to just put a line in between the paper that I've cut out. You don't have to measure anything. If you want, you can, but it's not necessary. So you can just use your height to just feel it, just to draw a line on the pattern that you've cut out. Just draw the line as you desire. But the smaller it is, the fuller you have your flare. If you make it very big, you won't be able to spread your pattern very well. But when you make it a little bit smaller, not very tiny, but at least medium size. So once you make it tiny, if it's too tiny, it will be too it will waste more of your fabric, but it should be a little bit not too tiny and not too big. If it's too big, your flare will not be full at all. It will be very small. Okay, so I'm still marking it. So once I'm done marking, the next thing is to cut. But while cutting it, make sure you don't cut it through, because the skirt is going to be together. And if you cut through, in the process of placing it, you cannot add excess, and we don't want that. We want our actual waist on the pattern that we have, which is 29 divided by 2, that we have 14.5. We don't want to add anything to it aside from the allowance. So whenever you're cutting, make sure you cut and you don't cut it through. Let there be a little tiny piece to join the paper together all through. So I'll continue to cut till I'm able to cut all the lines. Now I'm done cutting. The next thing is to fold the fabric into two. Fold your fabric into two. My table is smaller for the type of flare I want to cut, but I want to manage the table like that. So I'll cut the flare. I'll place my pattern on the folded fabric. Place my pattern on it, then put allowance on the sides. I'm placing my fabric on my pattern on the fabric folded. Then I make sure that whenever you're placing it, you don't place and you have it exactly on the length of the pattern. There should be excess at the down part of the pattern. That means your fabric should be longer than your pattern paper, because you'll be adding allowance for hemming. So the first thing is to add the half an inch for the upper part. That is to join your waist to your band, because no matter what you're doing, when you're sewing your skirt, you have to join a band to it so that it can stay on your waist. So the allowance I'm putting on this upper part is half an inch, 0.5. Then the reason why we are putting it, that we're not cutting it directly on the pattern on the paper. Where we have our paper, we can just cut around the circumference of the pattern paper. The reason why we're not doing that is we don't want it to add excess to the length, to the waist of our pattern. Because if you cut exactly where you have your pattern measurement, where you have your pattern placed on the fabric, it will add excess to the waist of that skirt, and we don't want that. That's why we are putting half an inch. So when you're cutting, you cut exactly on the half an inch that you added to the upper part of the skirt, so that you can still come back to the exact waist measurement that you have. Then on the down part, which is the hem part, I'm adding 1 inch. You can do more than that, depend on what you want, but I'm only adding 1 inch because I'll just use that one to just fold the hem. Then while I'm marking the in between, taking the measurement from the tip of that pattern down to the hem, is because I want the exact measurement in between. I don't want it longer at the center part where we don't have a pattern spread. Those part does not have a pattern in between, so that part where we don't have the pattern paper spread, we have to measure it from the waist so that we can still have the exact measurement. So from that from the waist of the pattern now down to the hem with the 1 inch I added, I should have 28. That is what I'm trying to confirm there. So then on the side, I'm putting 1 inch as the allowance for sewing it together. That's the sewing allowance I'm putting on the side. You can decide to do more than that. Sorry that we can't really see the down parts because of my table. My table is a little bit small. So once I'm done with that, I'm cutting it out. I'll cut on the line that I marked. The line. This will not take you. It won't take you up to. It's just few minutes to do this. It's just a short minute, and it's very easy to do. So I'm cutting on the marked line now. So I'm going to cut it all through so I can bring out a flare skirt. So it's easy to do flare skirts, very easy, and you have the round circumference on the down part. So I'm cutting it. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So I'm done cutting the down part. I want to cut on the marked part on the of the waist now. So I'll be cutting on the shock. That's the part I measure on the upper part of the waist. So I'm trimming out the excess on the waist on the side. That's the sewing allowance part. I'm trimming out the excess there. So the next thing is to cut the waist part on the half an inch that we added to the upper part of the pattern. Half an inch. So I notice that that part goes straight because I have to move it around. So that's why I'm trying to pin it back so that I can I can cut out the exact place. I don't want it longer or reducing the measurement I added on the upper part of the waist. So I'm cutting it out, then I'm done cutting. Okay, so we take that part out, then we can remove our pin. Then the next thing is to slash it open on the side where we have it folded. There's no opening on that side. I'll be cutting it out now because we'll be putting pockets on the side. Then there will be a zipper and pocket on the other side. So I'm cutting it through a bit. Then I'm done. Then I'm done with the cutting. And this is our final results. Looks so beautiful.